Hello guys, how are you? Cryptex here. I hope my sound is good. While waiting for you guys, I'm gonna play just a short clip I made a couple of minutes ago with the help of our good friends, the artificial intelligences. So it's gonna be like a mini introduction, let's say.
Logan? No. Klein? No. Odinism? Yes. Odinism? Yes. No. Maybe we should blame Logan. Thank you, guys. It's time for you guys to be real. Seriously? Odinism crap? Logan? No. Klein? No.
Hello guys, how are you? Today we're gonna talk about DNA. We're gonna talk about Keegan Klein. We are gonna talk about some stuff that I want to try to connect here. And let's see. I'm gonna be a little bit erratic. I'm gonna ramble a little bit, but hopefully I'm gonna be able to present my point tonight. So Goddess is here. Thank you, Goddess, for being here. Happy to have you here. Miranda, how are you, Miranda? Thank you. Yes, it's almost done. I feel much better now. Thank you for asking. Hebby and Heather Brown, how are you, Hebby? What's up? Everything good on your side? Hola, Jenny. How are you? Feeling good? Ooh, Big Fishy. How are you, Big Fishy? Where are you right now? In a small pond or in a big pond? I don't understand that fish orange white eyes. What is that? It's not the first time I see that, and I'm so lost with that. Fishy, you have to explain to me that. Heavy, feeling good, feeling great. Thank you for asking. You sweet man, you. Thank you, Heavy. So I'm gonna start tonight with DNA. I'm gonna present a very short extract of a video that was made by Michelle. Michelle in the Dark. What's the name of Michelle After Dark? Sorry for that. Just to introduce my point. So actually, I never talked too much here about DNA. And there's something that is really interesting here. We're gonna see it in this extract from Michelle. Of course, you know already about that. We know that there are some traces of DNA coming from Libby. Some traces of DNA are coming from Abby. So we have the purple and the blue points here representing Libby's and Abby's DNA traces. And what is interesting here is that we have some traces in green, and those traces are coming from an unknown male, right? So there's a guy that is not identified yet, and we can find some traces from this guy in the bodies of the girls. So there's a lot of talk that those traces can come from the like some type of transfer from the houses of the girls because of the washing machine. They wash the clothes with the same machine of everybody living there in those houses. Anyways, to me, that's kind of not very convincing to me. And why is that? Because those traces from an unknown male are coming. We can see it here, that the traces are like present in the intimate parts of the girls. So here, like in the breasts of Abby or of Libby, sorry, in the like in the vaginal area, let's say, in the hand, right? So, and same thing when we talk about Abby, we have a trace here of DNA from that unknown male, like in the crotch area of the gene, and also in one of her hands. So, to me, we can see like some type of a pattern here. It seems to me, I'm not an expert in DNA, I'm not an expert in DNA transfer, whatever, but when we see this type of distribution of DNA, it's very interesting that we find DNA samples in the sexual areas of the girls. So that may be an indication to me that maybe the perpetrator, the killer, he was touching the girls at one point in those areas. And I'm gonna I'm talking about this because I'm gonna go with Keegan Klein and his search about how long the DNA lasts, and I'm gonna try to establish a connection here using videos from different people. All of them are old videos, but anyways, I'm gonna go there. So I'm gonna, before starting with this clip from Michelle After Dark, I'm gonna come back to the chat for a while. So just 1 second here. Fishy says that that's an emoji that works on YouTube. Ah, okay. Okay, and what's the result of that emoji? Thank you for the information. Yeah, please hit the like, guys. Hit the like. Heavy. All right, I'm in the car and cannot hear. So I'll be back when I get home if you're still on. Okay, thank you. Let's see if I'm gonna be here. So let's see what is Michelle gonna tell us about DNA here. But mute myself first.
Did about the distribution of DNA at the crime scene. The purple is Abby's DNA, the turquoisey colour is Libby's DNA, and the green is the unknown male DNA. This was Libby's hoodie that Abby was dressed in, so it's bound to have both of those DNA on it. But the unknown male DNA in the green, on Libby, it looks sexualised, where this DNA is posited, it does look sexualized. Also, on Abby, it looks like there's some sexual component there. But what you see is unknown male DNA under Abby's fingernails, the crotch area, and then on Libby, fingernails, so presumably where they've grabbed at the offender or offenders, and then on her chest and in her crotch area. So very much sexualized pattern. When this was released, Cara Weinicke, who was an attorney who got involved in the case when
Sorry. So there's a long video about the DNA found on the girls made by Michelle, but I just wanted to start my live today with this representation of the distribution of the DNA on the bodies of the girls. And again, as Michelle said, I think that it's very interesting that we can see a pattern of traces of DNA present in the sexual areas of the bodies. So to me, even if there was no rape, apparently, uh, I think that the killer or the killers, they could be at one point touching the girls. So that's my first point. So now I'm gonna present another clip, uh, and then I'm gonna try to connect all of this together. Now, remember that at one point at the beginning of the investigation, Indiana State Police, they were telling us that we shouldn't make the assumption that the guy on the bridge on the video or at the time on the picture, we shouldn't make the assumption that that guy was the same guy that we can hear when we are listening to the guys down the hill audio. So let's remember that clip. I know that you know that already. It's a very popular clip here in this case, but I want to play it again tonight.
What about suspects suspect as opposed to suspects? Has that been addressed?
What we have publicly addressed is people want to make the assumption that the voice saying down the hill belongs to the person that's captured in the image from the cell phone. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case.
What about suspect as opposed to suspects? Has that been addressed?
What we have publicly addressed is people want to make the assumption that the voice saying down the hill belongs to the person that's captured in the image from the cell phone. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily.
One more time, last time again. I think this clip is very interesting. It's very short, but it's very telling.
What about suspect as opposed to suspects? Has that been addressed?
What we have publicly addressed is people want to make the assumption that the voice saying down the hill belongs to the person that's captured in the image from the cell phone. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case.
So why were they telling us that? Sorry. I think that statement is really, really weird. If they were telling us, don't make that assumption that the voice down the hill belongs to the guy we are seeing on the bridge, is because they didn't know that actually that guy and the voice were the same. And this is just, to me, something that I'm still thinking about it. You know that in my theory, I'm talking about multiple perpetrators forever. But why is the Indiana State Police Department saying that? For sure, is because they were not able to establish if that guy was the one who was talking in the video. So I don't know what do you think, guys, about that, but it's really weird. I don't know. I don't know. You're gonna say that it's a strategy from law enforcement just to keep every single angle here in the case like open. A single killer, multiple killers, multiple perpetrators, but it's just to me, it's like there are just two options. They were never able to establish that the voice and the image came from the same person or the opposite. They knew that there were different people there. I don't know if I'm trying to explain myself, but if you understand what I'm trying to do. And anyways, I'm gonna go to somewhere else soon. Hello, Matt. Happy to have you here, Matt Sullivan again. It's so good to see you here every time, man. So, Matt, Carter differentiates between the video of the man and the voice too in a later interview in 2020. Yeah, that's very, I'm not gonna say suspicious, but to me, it's like if they were hiding something. I don't know. Is if they maybe they have more material or uh, I don't know. I don't know. Why do you think they were telling us that? Um, yeah, that statement is just kind of interesting. Anyways, thank you so much for the super chat, Mother of Dragons. I appreciate your support. It's really appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm feeling so much well right now. Thank you for that. So now we started the streaming talking about DNA. Then we presented the video of this guy from the Indiana State Police making that recommendation of not trying to assume that the guy in the video are the same person. And now this is it's a very old clip as well, but I think there are relevant thoughts in this clip that I'm gonna present. So I'm gonna stop from time to time, and I'm trying to lead you guys to some conclusion here. I know that I'm being very erratic right now, but I hope you're gonna be patient enough. Matt, I believe that in those years, police believed in the impossibility of one person staging that scene. You also have two types of injuries on both victims. Then you have ISP differentiating the sketches. Yeah, great comment. Great comment, Matt. I'm with you. ISP said outright that the sketches were of two people, that the first sketch was actually cleared. 100%. There was and there is a lot of confusion about that, and to me it's because they are hiding some information that for some reason they don't want to disclose at this point. So I'm gonna go with this video. This is gonna be about Keegan Kline, about the voice. That's why I presented the previous video, voice, and the previous video, DNA. In this one, the guy is gonna talk about both topics here, voice and DNA, and both elements are gonna be related to Keegan Kline. So let's do this.
We're going to take a look at the curious search term searched for by Keegan Kline after his polygraph test. The search term being, how long does DNA last?
So why do you think that Keegan Kline was searching for, was making that search? How long does DNA last? So there are just two possibilities, main possibilities, let's say. One is because his DNA was there at the crime scene and he was worried about it. So that's why he was looking for that information. How long does DNA last? That demonstrates or that indicates that Keegan Klein was worried about something. And if his DNA was there at the crime site or at the crime scene or on the bodies, that means to me that he was, of course, in contact at some point with the victims, holding the victims, leading the victims to some specific area, touching the victims. So at the beginning of the presentation, we saw the unknown DNA traces present in the sexual areas of Abby and Libby. So one possibility is that the day of the murders, Keegan Klein, he touched the victims, and that's why he was making that search. How long does DNA last? Other option is that if he was actually with Tony Klein that day, and Tony was the one who committed the murders, maybe Tony was asking Keegan, "Hey, I'm worried about my DNA being present on the bodies of the girls. Can you check for me how long does DNA last?" So maybe was Keegan himself, or he was looking to give that information to Tony. So anyways, I'm going to continue with the video. I think it's very interesting. The thoughts of this guy, I like it. It's an old video, but I'm trying to do some connections tonight. So let's continue here.
Now, before we get into the discussion surrounding DNA, I just want to talk about a different aspect of this case just for one moment. And that is the voice of the man supposedly on the bridge. Guys down the hill, the commanding voice from that man directing the girls away from the bridge area. Now, having listened to that voice on countless occasions and listening to audio samples of Keegan Klein, in my opinion, there are a lot of similarities there.
Guys. Down there. Guys. Down there.
To talk to her is what they've told me.
Guys. Down there.
I have not a clue. Because I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her.
Down there.
Now, I know that may not be the most common opinion out there. A lot of people do hear similarities within that voice comparison, but equally, a lot of people are adamant that there are no similarities at all.
To me, it's the same voice. I know I'm biased. I know I'm looking harder into the Keegan Klein's angle, but seriously, when I hear that guys down the hill and when I hear Keegan Klein talking, I know it's very subjective, but to me, that's a match. So if that's the case, if there's actually a match between the voice of the guy in the video and Keegan Klein, that means only two things. One, Keegan Klein is British guy, which to me that's unlikely. I don't think Keegan Klein is a British guy, or Keegan Klein was at the other side of the bridge when the video was taken. Or a third possibility is that voice, it was not even part of the original video, and for some reason law enforcement added that audio to the video. There's a lot of fishy stuff here in this case. I wouldn't be surprised, but if we take into consideration those three possibilities, Keegan Klein being British guy, Keegan Klein being at the other side of the bridge when the video was taken, or law enforcement manipulating the whole video by adding the audio to the video, I would say that the most likely scenarios that Keegan Klein was there, but at the other side of the bridge. And we know that according to the communications between Anthony Schultz and Libby, they 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 went to or Libby, she was supposed to go to the bridge to meet Anthony Schultz. So to me, it's not crazy to think that Keegan Klein was at the other side of the bridge, and we know that he confessed going to the cemetery the day of the murders, and from the cemetery to the other side of the bridge is very easy to go. Now let's continue here. So I agree with this guy. To me, the voices are very similar, as Matt is saying here. The voice sounds very similar, same tone, same pitch. I agree with you.
What I'm going to do for you now is play two very short clips, one from the stepbrother of Keegan Klein and another from a girl called Kayla, both with their opinions on the voice comparison.
And then I had a question. You talked about hearing Tony's voice at the movie theater a few years ago. I was curious. I assume you've heard the audio of the person on the bridge saying, "Guys, down the hill." Did that sound like it could have been Tony to you?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has like a very kind of high-pitched, weird voice. Like it's not deep at all. So yeah, I did not think it was Tony.
Did it sound like Kagan?
It did sound like Kagan. I will be honest. It did sound like Kagan. I will be honest.
Sorry, I was muted. So stupid. So I was just saying that when I look at Keegan's face here in this picture, to me, I can see like an evil face. It's specifically in this picture, not as bad. In the rest of the pictures or videos I saw of Keegan Klein, this one is the one who strikes me for some reason. I can see like evil in his face here. And again, we can see that he's here in the nature outside. So he was someone that used to go to parks, used to go outside. He used to go to trails, to parks, to swim. We saw pictures of Keegan swimming, going to parties. So to me, he was not only the guy behind the computer again, he was actually meeting people outside, or people, I mean, underage girls outside. Let's continue with the video. I'm gonna mute myself here.
gonna be honest. I did. It did sound like him to me. Yeah.
It's so creepy looking at that.
Does it sound like Keegan to you?
Yes. That's creepy.
So there we have two individuals who both had first-hand experience, first-hand dealings with Keegan Kline, who seem fairly certain that that is the voice of Keegan Kline, or at least it sounds very much like him. So I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility to suggest that Keegan Kline was somehow present on the day of the murders. So now we move on to the question regarding the search term. How long does DNA last? Why would that be relevant to a man like Keegan Kline? This was a search term that he searched for after attending the polygraph test. So why would that particular search term be of importance? Now,
So I remember I had Steve from True Crime Web here. Yeah, maybe 1 year ago. Yeah, it was maybe 1 year ago, let's say. And when we were talking about Keegan Kline, Steve told us the thing that bothers me the most is that search, how long DNA lasts. So that was something that is bothering someone like Steve. So it's really relevant. That search is not irrelevant. It's very important.
train of thought on this is that we have a voice which to my ears sounds very similar to that of Keegan Kline. We have an individual who makes some very dubious searches after these murders. But the man on the bridge does not particularly look like the individual that you see in front of you. So could it be that Keegan Kline was there in some capacity on that day? Maybe he ushered the girls to a certain location. Was he concerned that there may have been some kind of physical contact, holding one of their arms or moving them in a certain direction or ushering them to a certain location? Because what we can tell by this is that there is a level of concern here. If he wasn't concerned about DNA or maybe some sort of touch DNA, why would he be searching for that term? It is certainly my belief that...
So we know that Keegan is a pervert. We know that we have the trip to Vegas, the whole theory about some pictures or some videos being sold to someone in Vegas, let's say. And to have a video or to have a picture of the girls, of the crime site, of the crime scene, you need someone to take those pictures. And to me, knowing the history of perversion of Keegan Kline, he could be very well the one who was taking potentially those videos or those pictures to sell them in Vegas. So if we have Keegan Kline at the crime site, and we know that he confessed to be at least at the cemetery, but maybe he was trying to minimize his involvement in the crimes. Maybe he was actually helping in the whole staging, in the whole manipulation of the bodies for the purpose of taking those pictures. And since he was in contact with the girls at that time, again, potentially that's why he was worried about his DNA being there. And that's why he was looking or he was doing that search in Google. How long does DNA last? Let's finish this video. gonna be ending soon.
Keegan Kline played some part in these murders, whether that was, as I've said in a previous video, just to facilitate the meet between the actual killer and the girls themselves, or if he was actually there in some other capacity. I do find this incredibly hard to explain, however. The voice to me does sound like Keegan Kline. And why is this individual concerned about leaving DNA or how long DNA can last on a body? Why is he using such search terms? To me, it strikes me that he's had some level of contact here with these girls, but not enough to literally destroy all of his devices, not enough to literally flee the country for any great length of time. It's almost like he's guilty of something, but not the actual murder itself. Something else worthy.
Anthony Franz, at least we know, according to David Vido, during the position of Trooper David Vido, that Keegan Kline or Anthony Schultz communicated with Libby the same day of the murders, the same day, the 13th. They were in communication. And we know that Keegan was looking for the address of the Marathon gas station as well. And there's that statement in the other transcript about Anthony Schultz or Keegan being trying to meet Libby the day of the murders, but she never showed up. Let's continue here.
Of mention is the fact that recently we had the Ron Logan documents released. We had this mention there that there were no defensive type wounds found on the girls, giving us the impression that no fight ensued before their deaths. A lot of people have said the guy on the bridge had some kind of weapon. He had a gun. He was able to subdue these two females, these two teenage girls. Other people will say that would have been incredibly difficult. But the fact that we have a lack of apparent defensive type wounds, could that suggest there was more than one person involved? Not just the person you see walking across the bridge, but someone else possibly waiting at the kill site. Now, one thing that law enforcement does know, however, is that Keegan Kline's actual phone does not go near the bridge on the day of the murders. But does that really tell us very much? If you are going to be involved to some degree in these murders, the last thing that you're going to do, obviously, is take your phone anywhere near to the scene of the crime. So why is this individual, as in Keegan Kline, concerned about leaving DNA, but not concerned about destroying his devices? Well, to me, at least one of those devices forms part of his alibi. So, to summarize, I certainly believe that Keegan Kline may well have been there on that fateful day. Everything I say in these videos is just my own thoughts and theories, just my opinion. But everything...
Well, that's not correct, Anthony Franz. Remember that Keegan Kline himself, he said in the transcript that he was driving an old Pontiac, an old American 98 car, something like that. I'm not into cars, but I remember that he gave the model of the car he was driving at the time. And I think it was wife Lilith. He posted in her community page the driving license of Keegan Kline. So that's a false information that was trying to be like spread by Fix Solves at one time, saying that Keegan Kline didn't drive. This is a total lie. It's false. It's a false information. He drove and he had a license. Yeah.
Regarding Keegan Kline, strikes me that he is a facilitator of this crime. He's not directly responsible. He's not the person holding the knife or whichever weapon was used to kill these girls, but he was a facilitator. He arranged a meet for someone else to be there.
And there's a lot of pictures of Keegan driving the red Jeep also. So he drove, of course. he had a license.
But how do we explain these search terms? How long does DNA last? Did he have some incidental contact with these two girls? Was it a touch of an arm? Was he guiding them somewhere? Was he holding one of them back? Very, very difficult to tell, but certainly a very telling search result there. It is also worth remembering that we only have the word of Keegan Kline to go by in terms of who actually made that search. This was conducted at the home of Keegan Kline, and we both know that there are two residents who reside there, Keegan Kline and Tony Kline. Do feel free to leave your own thoughts and theories in the comment section below. Very shortly, you'll be able to see some other videos from the
Why did KK propose to stage the scene like witchcraft?
Oh my God, sorry guys. I just saw that I was muted for almost 5 minutes. Come on. So I'm gonna try to remember what I was telling you guys. Oh man. Oh, sorry guys, I was. Today's not my night. Tonight's not my night. So I don't remember what I was talking about, but I'm gonna try to come back a couple of minutes ago in my brain. So just to summarize the whole video tonight, the first part of the live was related to distribution of the DNA. I hope you can hear me now. The distribution of the DNA on the bodies of the girls, right? And that we have traces of DNA from an unknown male on the private parts of Abby and Libby, right? That to me is an indication that the killer was touching the girls. Even if there was no rape, there was no sexual assault or penetration, let's say, I think that the murderers or the killers were somehow touching the girls maybe for a sexual gratification situation, let's say. So that was the first video. The second video was about this guy from the Indiana State Police Department, where he's telling us that we shouldn't assume, we shouldn't do the assumption that Bridge guy or that the audio guys down the hill and the guy that we can see on the bridge are the same person. And this is interesting because this is an indication of multiple perpetrators, and I don't understand why someone from law enforcement would say that to the public. To me, it's just because they are not able to prove that the voice comes from the guy, or that they know that actually the voice comes from other person, maybe at the other side of the bridge. And we know the whole situation about the manipulation of the video, the interpolation, the altering, etc. The third clip we played today was about Keegan Kline and how his voice sounds very similar to the voice guys down the hill. To me, it's the same voice. It's a perfect match in my brain. I may be wrong, but I can hear Keegan Kline. I'm not saying that he's Bridge guy, but I'm saying that he may be very well at the other side of the bridge when the abduction took place. Okay. And also, we were talking about his weird searches about how long the DNA lasts. So that being an indication that he was very worried about that scenario. And of course, to me, that indicates also that he may be in contact with the bodies of the girls at one point during the abduction, during the staging, etc. And now we are going to play a last video. This is a video of this is the interview that was made to Ricci Davis by Amy from Case by Case. And I'm going to play just the part where Ricci Davis is telling us the story about how Keegan Kline was involved in the crime, and in particular to the situation surrounding the sticks placement. According to Ricci Davis, Keegan Kline, he was the one coming with the idea to place those sticks on the bodies of the girls in order to create like a witchcraft picture. And again, that adds to the whole story about Keegan Kline being physically in contact with the bodies of the girls. I hope you were able to hear me this time, and I was not muted for 5 minutes talking to myself. So before playing that video, that interview, that extract of the interview from Ricci Davis, okay. Thank you, Hiawatha, for giving me. I appreciate that. It's Christmas time, so thank you for giving me Hiawatha. Hiawatha, if he was involved, yes, I do. He was the one chatting with Libby. Anthony Franz, Hiawatha, why do you think they never arrested Keegan Kline for his online crimes for almost 3 years? Let him run around, no charges. Because he was an informant, because that was part of the negotiation he made with law enforcement. Maybe because of that, I cannot give any other explanation. It's just, to me, he was an informant. Hiawatha, just because they were not penetrated doesn't mean they were not sexual assaulted. Damn hillbilly medical examiners. Yeah, 100% with you. I agree. Hiawatha, I initially thought it was so they could catch other perverts, but now I think his Dropbox was full of powerful people's names. Yeah, great point, Hiawatha. Jenny, it's very suspicious he was not arrested for 3 years. Why let him acquire more victims? An informant, or under surveillance, under monitoring by law enforcement? I doubt it. But anyways, my theory is that he was an informant. Anthony Franz, he was not brave enough to do what he wanted to do. Panicked. I think he was gonna let Abby go, but last minute he decided she wouldn't tell on him. I think he liked her, the target. Okay. Math. I know why, because they thought he's involved and needed evidence. They were watching him. Yeah, this is also another possibility. They were having Keegan under surveillance to try to obtain more information to try to close the deal. This is one possibility, but if that was an actual scenario here, there were a lot of victims that were still being abused by Keegan. So it's like not a very ethical situation from the side of law enforcement if that was the actual situation. Anyways, he was still catfishing people, obtaining nudes from underage girls. It's just unacceptable. It's just, even if he was just under monitoring, or if he was being part of some type of negotiation here, or if he was an informant or an informer, the victims were at risk the whole time. So he was harming people during 3 years. So it's not ethical. I don't know. It's weird. Matt, arresting him for sea porn versus murder was a big thing for law enforcement, and was a big thing for Keegan as well, because he was not charged with murder. So that's why I think there was a deal and there was a negotiation there. And actually, Jerry Holman, when we read the transcripts from his deposition, he talks about a negotiation that, according to him, was not finished, let's say, but he's talking about a negotiation that was on the table. And he even talks about immunity for Keegan Klein. And in my opinion, that actually happened. He's saying that didn't happen. It was just on the table, but knowing everything we know today and coming to the comment of Hiawatha about the Dropbox, to me, that points to a negotiation, to a deal. Tony from the block. Matt, there was a car parked watching Tony until 2022. Yeah. For 3 years, they were watching him. I cannot buy that. Yeah. Law enforcement was stupid as fuck in this case. Yeah, they were stupid, they were incompetent, they were liars, corrupt. All of the nasty words from the encyclopedia or the dictionary we can apply to law enforcement in this case. Yeah, that's not ethical, of course. Math. Keegan Klein was legitimate enough that they spent millions on the Wabash River search because of him, of course. They knew that Keegan Klein was telling the truth that in some aspects of his statements, for sure. And that was via polygraph, in my opinion, that they were able to make the difference about when Keegan Klein was telling the truth or when he was lying. Yeah, 100%. Spooky Sokoke, Spooky, you change your handle every time, so come on, it's hard to follow you. I hope this is the real Spooky. I hope you're doing good. I know that you had a couple of hard situations or hard moments recently. I hope everything is okay now. And I don't know if you have your dog back. So, anyways, best wishes for you, Spooky. So good live streams tonight. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people streaming. So, yep, good. Jenny, Anthony France, I'm not from the block. Come on, you have to be Jenny from the block. If not, you're going to be disappointed. Anthony France, I think he was an informant in the beginning, but didn't produce what they needed. I think they produced, he was able to produce what law enforcement needed at the end. I think, again, and that's my theory about the negotiation. To me, he was the one providing the name of Richard Allen to law enforcement. Matt Sullivan. Anthony Grino confessed several times. Law enforcement never took him serious. Klein must have said something that connected him to the crime enough that law enforcement would have unlimited budget on his tips. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They were able to corroborate some information coming from Keegan Klein's mouth. Everybody here says that Keegan is a liar, that Keegan is a piece of shit. We cannot trust him. And of course, he's a liar. But when you are in the law enforcement game and you put a polygraph in front of that guy, you're going to be able to make that difference. When he's telling the truth, when he's telling lies, for sure. Brian, how are you, Brian? It's your wife? What do you mean, your wife? I think they brought Keegan Klein out to that place to threaten him. Well, that's not impossible. It's a good thought. actually, but to that place. They went with Keegan Klein to the cemetery, that specific place. No, no, no. We know that he made a confession at the Grissom Air Force Base, and then he was brought to the cemetery, where he was giving additional details. So I don't think so, but anyway, it's not impossible. It's a good thought, Jenny. Spooky. Again here, Julian Powell confessed. But that was not an official confession. The only official confession here was the one that was made by Keegan Klein. Well, yeah, there were people confessing, like Elvis Fields, like Julian Powell, like Grino, but those were not official confessions. The only one that was confessing under a videotape scenario was Keegan Klein. It's the only one. Grino has truth-telling troubles. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Fishy. Julian Powell always gets me. Yeah, another interesting character. Huh? Another interesting character. Spooky. He did say he was EUT. What is EUT? I don't understand you. Oh, All Eyes on Delphi. How are you, All Eyes? Grino is your person of interest. Can you give us a little bit of information about that? I think he's very suspicious. I agree with you. I know that you do like super good researches. So maybe you have more information than me. Actually, I have a source that provided me a lot of information about Grino that is very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Big Fishy. Grino would have spilled every detail long ago. Matt, Grino didn't do it. Grino likes the attention. Is he dangerous? Yes, absolutely. And I know that you knew Grino personally, Matt, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that video that you made when you met in Delphi. I think it was the Captain Howdy, Grino. I think you were there with your ex-girlfriend, maybe. It was Hoosier, probably. Hoosier Cold Cases. You went to Delphi to, like as part of that research, I guess, I don't know. So yeah, I think that when you say that he's dangerous, you know why you say that for sure. For real, yeah, very interesting information from, or opinion or comment from All Eyes on Delphi. His Google reviews were the stuff of nightmares. Google reviews from who? Grino? All Eyes. There's more evidence against Grino than Richard Allen, just saying. And if that's the case, why do you think that Grino was not like in the scope of law enforcement, just because of incompetence, or there's something else there? I'm just trying to enter into your ideas, your opinions here. And if you can tell us something about that evidence, we would love to listen to know more about that. Big Fishy, he was into the Arabic letters or some weird script. I imagine you under meth writing in Arabic letters. You're gonna have a very nice writing or calligraphy, let's say. Calligraphy. Jenny, every time you say deep shit on your post, Grino appears. My God. Okay. Math. Julian Powell implied through photos, etc. He never claimed to have killed them. He was delusional. Sleuth and I were the ones who called Liggett about him when it was happening. But I remember that at one point, maybe I'm wrong, he said that he was not able to remember what was happening at the time of the murders, that he was like in a state of delusion, let's say. So like he was not able to say if he did it or not. I don't know. It's far away from my mind right now. All eyes. What's up with Grino's bloody jeans in Richard Allen's discovery? What do you mean, Grino's bloody jeans? Interesting. That was a whole thing on Twitter with Dan and Grino. Spooky. I'm aware, Matt. Rick Allen was also forced into a delusional state too. The bloody jeans were a little weird. Did they DNA test those jeans? Hey, I missed that part, guys. So there were bloody jeans belonging to Grino. Please tell me a little bit more about that, because I really don't know. This is breaking news for me. Nature. Grino was hiding out at his cousin Courtney's house when the cops were looking for him in connection with the crime. Interesting. Matt, I know him personally, not a good guy. Yeah, it's easy to imagine that for sure. Give me just 1 second here, guys. Did Grino confess to having bloody jeans? His sister said they all thought it was him. Really? Oh, shit. Hiawatha. Grino will say anything to input himself into the case. That's true. Just to have the attention, to have more viewers on his channel. Yeah, I agree with you. I can see that more into that angle, let's say. Grino trying to insert himself into the case to get that attention. I don't know. That's my feeling, but I don't know all the information you seem to know about him, especially that the bloody jeans and stuff like that. I miss that part. Mental health is a bitch. I get that and empathize with Julian Powell's wife. Grino wouldn't stop confessing for a while. Yeah. He was feeding off of people thinking he did it. All eyes. I never had a theory or a person of interest because I still have more questions than answers. But did I have to declare a person of interest? Grino makes more sense than any of the others. Really? Wow. This is interesting, especially coming from you, because I know that you have a very good information in your researches. So interesting. Where's Dan those days? Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, Dan is not here anymore, or maybe he's under another handle, let's say. Anthony France, Ricky, don't lie to you. Ricky, don't lie to your wife and get her caught up when she says calling for you. Grino has admitted that he was at the bridge that day. Were they Grinos or the unidentified person whose clothes were found under bridge by Kelsey and Chase? Oh. Richard Allen didn't lie to Kathy. Law enforcement did. Richard Allen said he didn't remember, so he deferred to Doolin's report. Yeah, we are talking about Grino being the POI of All Eyes on Delphi. I think it's hilarious that people think that Richard Allen would lie to his wife, but then go talk to the cops and tell them the truth. Just scrolling down here, guys. Okay. Nobody's coming to live with me? To live with you? What do you mean? What do you mean, fishy? So I'm going to the extract of the interview that was made by Amy from Case by Case to Ricci Davis. And I'm just going to play a couple of minutes. The part where Ricci Davis talks about Keegan Kline coming with the idea to place the sticks on the bodies of the girls to create like a witchcraft picture. And again, this is connected to the previous clips we just saw during the live, trying to conclude, let's say, that Keegan Kline was actually present the day of the murders at the crime scene, not necessarily killing the girls, but doing some stuff, maybe taking pictures, maybe touching the girls, according to the DNA distribution that we saw in the first clip, that supported by the fact that he was looking for how long DNA lasts. Google search that is very telling, let's say. And also, let's see what Ricci Davis is going to tell us here.
I know that you've discussed this, but I think people want you to discuss it again.
Okay, I mean, it's pretty much what I just said. Actually, I mean, it's because that pretty much that they wouldn't believe that somebody as Ron Logan in his age would have been able to to stage that type of area, to that degree, to be able to. It would have been unfitting for somebody that age. So it was his idea to do it because they couldn't get him off the property. So that was the best solution. It's pretty much that since they had to stay on the property because they knew that they were going to come and want to search the property. They knew that. So pretty much, his best idea was.
Was there a time frame given as to when they put the girls where they put them? Because it just seems like there was like this huge search party going on. How were they able to get the girls to where they got them without ever being caught?
Your guess is better than mine. And okay, as I said, they were moved. Well, definitely the oldest girl was moved 3 times, as far as they said. The youngest girl was moved twice until they finally was able to get them to the destination. I don't know. I don't have that answer either. I mean, I don't know.
Do you know if Do you know if anyone took pictures of the crime scene?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, yeah, I know there has been people now, but at the time, no.
Neither one of them
I've
said
never been
anything
told
like that to you?
No, not at all.
Well,
I'm saying it hasn't or it has. I'm just, that's but they haven't.
so I mean, looking back on the whole situation and up until you were taken out of your dorm, when all of this came to light, where Keegan was aware that you were probably the one speaking about all of this, what was his behavior like?
Oh boy. Okay, it was more of because I was put on the witness list to go testify at the trial. The defense had me on there. So that was, that was, going to happen. Keegan Klein came, and I didn't realize it yet, that any witness list came out. But Keegan Klein came to me and he said, man, hey, did you realize you're on a witness list? It threw him off because I never told him, anything about, the Ron Logan thing.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Boy. All right. You want me to call back, obviously, right?
Yes. Call back.
No problem.
Okay. Right. Call me back.
All right.
All right. Bye. All right. Guys,
just want to play the part where he talks about the sticks and the witchcraft and stuff like that. It's coming soon. She's gonna call him again. It's not gonna take so long. I think it's interesting to revisit that part.
Like I said from day one, don't shoot the messenger. And he's been in prison for 14 years. So he doesn't know the layout. He doesn't know the geographic area of the bridge and Ron Logan's property. He only knows what he was told. And we can agree to disagree that what he has to say is true or false. I personally believe that he was told these things. That doesn't mean that Keegan Klein or Ron Logan was being truthful. However, the one thing that makes sense here is that they both told very similar stories years apart without the other being present. That is the scariest part of this whole thing, as they were both telling the same story. And from day one, since I've started talking to Ricci, his version has never changed. And his version has not wavered, and he's not trying to embellish. He's not tried to add or take away. He only knows what he knows. And I mean, all we can do is take it for what it's worth compared to the version of what the state presented at trial, compared to all of the other versions of the story that we've been told. So there's a lot, we have a lot of speculation. We have a lot of speculation in the chat. Okay, let's go back to the handcuffs. Was there any specific way that they described the girls being handcuffed, or was it just wrist to wrist?
It was wrist to wrist, is all I know. I don't think, that I can remember anything that it was wrist to wrist. One girl cuffed to the other girl. So I can't really.
And then the younger girl got out.
Yeah, she slipped out. They said that she had a small wrist and she was able to wiggle through.
And can you describe what they claimed about that in more detail?
I'll be honest. I kind of did there was really no more detail on that than what I've got. It was as far as what part, because I thought I covered that. I'm sorry.
No, you did. But I think that
Okay.
there's people coming and going from the chat who are asking.
Okay. Oh, you want me to re-explain it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just kind of go back over, like, Abby, the littler one, she slipped out of the cuff, and then what happened?
Okay. So, Abby, right? Okay, Abby. Okay, so she, somehow wiggled through the cuffs. She went to take off. When she went to take off, she got a little bit of ways, and the oldest girl said, "Just go. Call grandma. Call the police. Call grandma. Something." And she went to take off again.
And those are the words. Those are the words that you were told. Call grandma.
Yeah, it was that. Call grandma. Call the police.
Mm.
That's what it was exact words. And so but the oldest girl ended up getting cut and said, if you take off, pretty much what happens is going to be your fault. The oldest girl still told her to go anyway, and I don't know if she was like petrified in fear and she wouldn't leave, or she just didn't want to leave her friend. I don't know which one, but she stayed and walked back to Ron Logan.
Mm. Do you know how heartbreaking that is?
I shed a lot of tears over this, man.
That's so heartbreaking.
He's kind of quiet right at this last few, minutes.
Okay, talk louder because I think you're fading out. Did you ever in any writing that you sent to Nick McClelland, did you ever bring up a phone battery being taken out of a phone?
Yeah. I brought it up at the first investigation in 2017 also, but yes.
Okay, can you explain that?
I also brought it to Nick McClelland. See, Ron Logan had a flip phone, a personal phone that he used as a flip phone, and there was a certain point, and I can't even tell you when, or I don't know if it was that phone. He was talking about his flip phone, but there was a phone that had a battery taken out or something taken out of a phone, trying to cover the. Hey, I've been locked up for so long, I can't even tell you how this stuff works, man. But there was something where he didn't want it to be tracked, or there was just something about.
Do you know what's interesting about that? Do you know what's interesting about that, Ricci? Is that
not really?
Is that none of the letters that Nick McClelland included in his filings from you, none of them discussed a phone battery. When the state, when the defense filed their first motion to correct error, and they first initially introduced your name and your statement, nothing in those statements ever discussed a phone battery. Yet when Nick McClelland responded, he included information about a phone battery, which tells us all that there are letters from you that he received that he is not divulging to the public. That's what's important about that. I know that you know that, but I'm saying that is proof in the pudding that he's talking about a phone battery that so far publicly, we've never seen anything from you in writing about a phone battery. But he's making it out, he made it out as if you were discussing Libby's phone, her battery being taken out of her phone.
Well, I mean, absolutely not. Like I said, I don't know which phone it was. I know there was also some burner phones involved too. Which I really didn't get into that part, but there was some burner phones involved in this little child. What do you call it, man? I don't know what you call it, but this exploitation thing that they were. I don't know. I didn't get into that, but there were some other phones involved too. So I can't tell you what phones what. I don't know anything about phones anymore. I've been, I got about 23 years in prison altogether, and a lot of this stuff's like really new to me, yeah. I was only out about a year, and really I didn't mess with a whole lot then when I was out. I mean, I was kind of still trying to get used to life, so. Yeah.
So you're still in segregation, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
I'm watching the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Did either one of them say anything to you about Libby about a phone? Either one of the girls having a phone?
Well, listen, there was, when phones were talked about, I was always confused because there were so many involved, so many phones. And we had, I don't know who had phones. I know there was a lot of phones involved because, like I was saying, the burner phones. I know Ron had a phone. I know Keegan Klein said he didn't even bring a phone, so he said he left that back. So I mean, wherever he came from. So,
And you don't know what car he drove.
No, I have no idea. I don't know what he drove.
Did he ever make it out, like when he drove to Delphi and left his phone behind? Did he ever act as if he was with someone? Like someone accompanied him to Delphi?
I know he did a whole lot of protection on his dad, especially through a lot of conversation. I know that the whole fallout between him and his dad that they're still having at this point had to do with, setting each other out. And I don't know what that was all about. I don't know. He never got into that. He said that they fell out real bad, that his dad felt like he's going to throw him under the bus too. And I don't know if they're talking about, because his dad had to do with child exploitation, film, pictures, stuff like that, along with Keegan Klein. And I don't know if he's referring to that or anything more, but I don't want to really throw his dad into anything that I'm not positive of, so I'm not sure.
Did has Nick McClellan reached out to you since any of this happened? Talk louder.
No, I mean, no, not at all. Actually, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I expected him to. Honestly, if I knew he wasn't, I would have made copies of all this stuff. I would have contacted somebody else with this information. But
I know a lot of people are like, after 2017, why did you even bother contacting him again? When Rick Allen was on trial, what was your thought process on contacting Nick again after being treated the way that you were treated in 2017?
Because I wanted this case solved. I do at this minute, just because I was treated wrongly, man, I think what held precedent in my heart was the girls and the solving of his case. I dug my heels into the ground, man, trying to really get this information. And I committed myself one way or the other. I'm gonna make sure to get this information out. Now, what people do with it, what investigators do with it, I can't help it from that point. But I committed myself. I'm still committed. I'm not giving up. I'm just not, and I won't. Absolutely not.
Do you feel like you're in danger where you are right now?
No, I know. I don't. I don't.
Okay,
I don't feel like I'm in any danger. But I wouldn't rather be in segregation or anything. It feels like more of a punishment than anything, because I wasn't fearful where I was at all. I was just fine. I asked to be relocated away from Keegan Klein while this case was going on, but that was to a different dorm, not some segregation stuff. So I don't know. They brought me in here and threw me in suicide suits, naked and turtle suits, and just like pretty much. I mean, just it was crazy for a while, and it's like and it was all unnecessary, you know. But I mean, the way I looked at it, and I still do, is if that's what it takes, I mean, it's about being a brother's keeper, if this is what it takes, man. I mean, I'm gonna do what I got to do, So
And for people who are out there listening, and you say you got to do what you got to do, what is the benefit to you for this case being solved? Because a lot of people would be like, my God, you're going through a whole bunch of shit for what, when the finger's been pointed at so many different people.
I'm gonna advance a little bit the video. I want to hear about the sticks, and I don't find the part.
People at so many different angles.
Them girls deserve real justice. You know what I mean? I mean, listen. Everybody has a responsibility. Man, listen, them girls need justice. You know the facts. You know what I mean? And you feel like all you got left is a thread just to go ahead and say, okay, I did it.
My God, where are we?
Remaining.
And it makes me very emotional right now.
Ask him if, through his experience even, what kind of contacts, that people can make. People just really need to start making some racket, because like I said, this is the 11th hour of these motions, and I've had it.
All right, I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, let's get involved in this case because of the whole.
I couldn't find it. Sorry, guys. It's there. It was interesting, anyways, to revisit the interview of Ricci Davis. What I wanted to show, but maybe that's gonna be in another live. The part where Ricci Davis was explaining how Keegan Kline was involved in the crime, how Keegan Kline came with the idea of placing the sticks on the bodies of the girls to make appear the crime scene like a witchcraft scenario. How he explained why Abby was redressed with Libby's clothes. So, anyways, that was the idea, just to wrap up the idea of the live today. I'm gonna come back to the chat, guys. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I'm not talking alone. All right, so Matt Sullivan. Keep in mind, he has dependent personality disorder. This makes him incapable of operating without someone else pulling the strings. The confessions must be at the direction of Walla. Yeah, for sure. 100% with you. Oh, Shay's here. How are you, Shay? Shay, don't give up. I'm gonna do the video. Just be patient. I know that you have a lot of patience, but yeah, I didn't forget you for sure. Jenny, he was not getting the okay, no, sorry. Here, all eyes on Delphi. Kathy called 911 because she loves her husband. That's what people do when someone they love tries to harm themselves. She wanted an ambulance, not police. Yeah. The suicide attempt was before the murders, wasn't it? All eyes? I think so, yes. It was before the murders. Long before the murders, apparently. Love and light for all. Many groups use symbols. It could be witchcraft. It could be Nazis. It could be Norse pagan, could be satanic. Yeah, or could be something that is just personal for the killer. Who knows? And this is gonna be funny, maybe, but maybe it could be even an actual signature. You know what I mean? Remember that BTK he signed with the actual signatures, but in a weird way, BTK. So maybe that symbols are forming an actual name. I don't know. Who knows? Whole bunch of weirdos in that country. Yeah. So all eyes. The suicide attempt was before the murders. An unfortunate but common thing among veterans. 30 a day, they say? Really? 30 attempts, you mean? Wow. Yeah, that's sad. Scrolling down here, guys. The killer would have to have knowledge of symbols. Yeah, I agree. Scrolling here, guys. Anyways, an interesting comment today was from All Eyes. And I don't know if you can or you cannot, but you can give us some information about why Grino is your POI. I'm very interested in that theory, let's say, if we can call it like that. So I don't know, guys. I think that maybe I'm gonna stop the streaming today. I hope you like it. Sorry, Ola is here. Wait, no, I wrote that wrong. He was hospitalized in 2019. My bad. Okay. You're trial junkie? Okay. How are you, trial junkie? Yeah, you're making me crazy, guys, with the handles. I don't recognize 50% of you because of that. I know it's not your fault, but it is what it is. So, guys, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna do a live with Amy from Daisy Asks tomorrow or after tomorrow. So if you can be here, that's gonna be cool. Cryptics, I'm worried about you. You've been sick for a while now. Are you not able to see a doctor? You got dark circles under your eyes. Get well. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, I was not sleeping very well. You're right. Just realized that. I went to see my doctor for another situation because I had like a high pressure, and he was sick also. He had a very bad flu, a very bad cold, and I asked him, "What are you taking for your cold?" And he told me nothing. So it's like it was an indirect message for me, like don't take anything. But I'm sleeping well those days, and it's already almost gone. But you're right, my eyes are kind of black. Anyways, see you guys. See you tomorrow, potentially, probably. Thank you for the company, and stay in touch, guys. Thanks for being here today. It was cool to have you in the chat, and again, hit the like before leaving. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna take vitamin D and zinc. Sure. Okay, there's another interesting comment here from Math before leaving. Logan dressed like him, lived near the crime, had the bodies on his property, lied about an alibi. and was at the crime scene with his phone between 7508 and 8 and 10:15. That still was not an excuse. Yeah, it's incredible. Huh? It's incredible. All right, guys. Leaving. See you.